Hello, Teen Tech Club, and happy Wednesday? I'm losing track of the days. Anyway, this is Mr. Jeff. Today we're going to be making a Spirograph, which is a neat little tool that lets you draw these cool geometric circle patterns. We're going to be making it with common household items and recyclables. So your first thing you're going to need is something round. Here I'm using a roll of tape. Basically something round and sort of donut shaped. You want an inner ring that you can circle in. You could also try to make something round out of a Burger King cup, a Solo cup, any other sort of round food container that's easy to cut, maybe made of plastic. You'll see me try and fail with a couple examples. Here I have one pre-cut out of the lid of a takeout container. Basically anything that's round and flat on the inside, like a donut shape that's flat. Anyway, you're also going to need a pair of scissors, a pen, and something to poke a hole with. I'm using a screwdriver. Just don't hurt yourself. You're also going to need some rubber bands. And let's get started. So here I'm attempting to cut the sort of sturdier lip of the Burger King cup out to use as the outer ring of the Spirograph. You might find this easier with certain items than others. The Burger King cup was pretty easy, and it worked pretty well for me in the end. The tape requires no construction. I'll show you the footage of me attempting to use the Solo cup as the inner ring. It won't work for me. Maybe it'll work for you. I believe in you teens. You may succeed where this seemingly competent adult man failed. But instead of a Solo cup, you might consider using as your inner ring maybe the lid of a peanut butter jar or the cap of a bottle. So once you have your inner disc, anything round, essentially, that you could easily poke a hole in, you're going to want to poke a hole in it. Please ignore me failing to poke a hole in it and losing the head of the screwdriver. I'll get there eventually. I'm trying my best. So, why I think this bottom of the Solo cup doesn't really work as the inner disc is it's not flat on the outside, or it's not parallel to the table on the outside. It's wider at the top than it is at the bottom. So when I put the rubber bands on here, they're not actually going to touch the outer ring because the top of my Solo cup disc is too wide. So the rubber bands are supposed to create friction between the outer ring and the inner disc to allow the disc to spin and create these geometric patterns. But as you'll see here, it doesn't really work out with my little Solo cup disc. So sad. But I'll get there eventually. Just bear with me. Hindsight is 20/20. Don't be like me. What's supposed to happen when you use a Spirograph is you just try to draw circles, and because of the offset position of the hole in your little disc, it should essentially create mini circles inside your circle motion, creating sort of like scribbly, spirally patterns. But since they're at such a consistent distance from each other, it's not just going to look like scribbles, it'll look like little patterns. So here I'm going to try it again, but with the roll of tape, which is a little sturdier and flatter on the inside than the Burger King lid, and a milk cap that I poked a hole in. And I put the rubber bands on to create friction. Put your writing utensil in the hole and just start trying to draw circles. And here you can see it does work out a little bit better for me. Both the surfaces that are touching are perpendicular. They're at a 90-degree angle and flat to the table. So the rubber band can really create friction. And it looks nice. I'm kind of happy with it. I will try again just to demonstrate with a few different objects. Depending on how big your outer ring is and your inner ring and how far from the center of your inner disc you put your hole, you will get different patterns, so feel free to experiment. If you've ever seen a store-bought spirograph, they tend to have a few holes in them at different distances, so you can mess around and get different cool shapes. They also tend to use gears instead of rubber band-based friction, so they're a little higher quality. But these work just as well, and they're free, and they use things you might have been throwing out anyway, so good luck. Hope everyone stays safe, and have fun.